Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin, here to talk a little Packers right on the eve. Really just, I don't know, we're probably less than an hour away, right at an hour away from the Senior Bowl kicking off. So I thought, let's get in here, do us a quick mock draft if we have time. We'll talk a little salary cap as well, kind of lay the foundation for, all right, here is the space that the Packers have in terms of salary cap and what they may or may not be able to do with restructures. Just have us a quick conversation about it. So before we get into it, if you would, do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you catch all of the content, the live streams, and any videos that are posted in between now and then. So, Jacob, how you doing, Bo?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a long day already. Had to wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the work place. And then, as I told you, had to run and grab hopefully some new, better computer equipment so I don't have the glitches that I've been experiencing for the last few months here. So I apologize for that if you guys are watching the last couple of days. But just real quick, man, on the way to that, you ever get like a band that you haven't listened to in a long time and all of a sudden you start jamming to it and you're like, why don't I do this every day?
Yeah.
I was listening to Tool, which brought me into System of a Down. So if my voice is a little raspy, it's because I was trying to sing along. It's not going to work, but you know.
There you go. For me, it's the Oak Ridge Boys. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, it's so different.
It's always the go-to. Anytime somebody talks about music, they'll be like, man, I'm telling you, that Pac in 96, it wasn't no better than Tupac. And I'm like, I know, dude. It's right there with the Oak Ridge Boys. And they always look at me like, anyway, there you go.
Yeah,
Chad,
there
you go. Yeah. So what's SOAD? What is that? System of a Down.
System of a Down. Man, come on, man.
Everybody uses these cool little acronyms and this and that. I'm Papal Bailey over here trying to keep up. So, all right, let's waste no time, dude. Let's get into it. We got us a mock draft to hit. I'm excited about it. 4 rounds, 3 picks for us. Obviously, no trading back, no trading up, none of that. We're going to kind of see how the board falls for the Packers. And we'll dive right into it. So you guys in the chat, let us know if you've got favorites when we get ready to pick here. I'm going to be having the PTA big board in the background here, Jacob. We're using the mock draft database for this one. So if you have any questions on prospects, I'm going to let you kind of run it from a sense of, all right, we'll take whoever you think because everybody's probably tired of my opinion here. But I will give you where they rank on our board, if that makes sense. So let's jump into it, man. Let's go get this thing started. We'll go turbo speed. Turbo time. Here we go. January 31st, PTA mock draft. And let's go ahead and crank this thing up. Hopefully, I don't screw anything up using this new system here. Obviously, we're used to using PFF here recently when it comes to the mock draft. So,
we
got us a huge, this is why we ignore this stuff.
Tampa Bay. Crazy.
Tampa Bay saying, hey, for your 52nd overall pick, we'll give you a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and a 4th rounder next year. That's just so stupid. All right. So best available, Jacob, as we're picking here at 52 in the 2nd round.
Can I tell you already who this is the guy I want?
Yeah, let's hear it, man.
Mr. Jennings Dunker.
Man, he is a fan favorite this year. And you know what? We haven't had an opportunity to draft him at 52 using the PFF draft database. Now, the reason that we like to use different websites and things is because of this, right? Sometimes you get so locked into one and you think, okay, that's how the draft is most likely going to fall. None of them know how it's going to fall. But if you just key in on one website, you end up kind of pigeonholing yourself into a corner where you can't really see exactly how the draft may truly fall. That's about as close as I can get it zoomed in there, guys. I apologize. But on the board, this would be a slam dunk pick for us, Jacob. Jennings Dunker is 21 on our PTA big board. All right.
Wow.
We've got a 25.8 grade on. This would be great freaking value in terms of picking here at 52. Now, when we look at McNeil Warren, obviously we don't need a safety. We wouldn't take a safety in that spot. He's in the 19 spot, so he's actually a higher prospect on our board as well. You got Lee Hunter, defensive tackle there for Texas Tech. He's kind of a fan favorite right now. He's sitting at 52. And then you've got Dylan Thyman, obviously another center. And then you got the corners rolling in. This is a slam dunk pick for me, man. You see D'Angelo Pons down there. If some people are going, no, we need a cornerback. I understand that. D'Angelo Pons is in the 41 spot. Wouldn't be a bad pick here, according to our board. But, man, Jennings Dunker, this is a slam dunk. And I know there's some people saying this ain't realistic. He won't be there. Well, according to our board, and we put all the information in early, PFF Big Board has him at 44. The Consensus Big Board has him at 34. However, Daniel Jeremiah did not have him in his top 50. So Daniel Jeremiah seems to think that he's outside of the top 50. There's a chance this could happen, right? So, yeah. Not so cool. Yes, says haven't seen Jennings Dunker highlights yet. Hey, man, go watch the Senior Bowl stuff. If you're in our Patreon group, we've got a profile put together. You can click on that prospect report. It's right there for you guys to get to. And I think we got some clips down there that people had recorded from their phone at the Senior Bowl. So make sure you check that out.
Can I tell you the highlight the only one that I care about?
Yeah.
He's doing an interview. I don't remember with exactly who, but they're asking him like, what's your workout? What's your diet? He starts talking about, I eat, this many protein bars. I eat this protein drink. I have like 36 ounces of coffee, like before I even get on the bus. And then he goes, I fill it up with Culver's. And the guy next to him goes, Culver's. And
What's
goes,
Culver's?
What's that? What's Culver's? And he goes, you don't know Culver's? And the guy is like, I'm from the Northeast. And the other guy that's next to him, he goes, well, I'm from Minnesota. He's like, I know what Culver's is. He goes, all right, boy, you got to get into Culver's. And by the way, this guy has a flowing Kentucky waterfall mullet that is just beautiful. And he's jacked. And honestly, if you do want to see some like actual footage, he's standing these boys up. Like he is absolutely looks like he's a brick crap house. And honestly, we've talked about how we don't want to draft offensive tackles and kick them inside. I really do feel like this is one of those that you can just put him anywhere. He just is a stud. I think he's like 6'5" ish, 315, that type of guy. To me, it sounds like a match made in heaven, dude.
Yeah. And when it comes to the Iowa Hawkeye offensive lineman that everybody's in love with, obviously there's a lot of Packer fans that live in Iowa and, they kind of cross-check their, being Hawkeye fans. When you look at this, Jennings Dunker is 38th on the Consensus Big Board, according to this right now, right? At least their draft board while we're doing a live draft. Then you go to interior offensive line. Next on the list is Logan Jones. All right. He's a center. And then you got Bo Stevens, their guard, right? So in that order, right? Well, Logan Jones is actually lower on our board than Bo Stevens. So I would be okay with all three of these guys at the right pick, of course. But this is a slam dunk here. Offensive tackle. We're going to go Jennings Dunker with the 52nd overall pick.
Dunker? Higher than you.
So Jennings Dunker is the first pick. And look, here we get the Detroit Lions are selling the farm too. They said, give us your third. We'll give you a fifth, a sixth, a fourth next year, 2-6 next year. Actually, 3-6 next year.
Very realistic. Yeah,
very realistic. So we got Chris the Trucker in the house says, finally caught a live. Any O lineman from Iowa, I'm in. Iowa is a O lineman factory. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you getting out there, trucking, keeping this country going as well there, Bob. Appreciate that. All right. Next pick, Jacob. 84. Pick 84. We already took offensive tackle. Doesn't mean we can't go offensive line again, but let's see who the top available prospects are as it sits right now. You've got Isaiah World, offensive tackle from Oregon, Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver from Indiana, Malik Muhammad, cornerback from Texas, Kamari Ramsey, safety from USC, and Josiah Trotter, linebacker from Missouri. Now, obviously, offensive line could still be a sneaky need. Look who's at the top.
I was going to say, man, if I had to pick, I know it's not going to be a sexy pick. I'm going Jake Slaughter. I am.
Dude, you're literally getting, according to our board, right? And again, I'm not saying our board is better than anybody else's. We just got, what was it, the 25th pick? What was it that Jennings Dunker is ranked at? 21. So you would have gotten 21, right? And then with Jake Slaughter, you're getting the 48th best prospect on our board if you go that route. So we'll kind of comb through here and see who else is available. Obviously, people are going to think you need corners as well. Three tech can be important as well, right? So let's look at defensive lineman. You got Tim Key. You see how it drops off so quick, Jacob? Like we're already in the 120s. If you don't take a defensive tackle with the 52nd pick, you're not getting one till the hundreds, essentially, or you're going to reach. And here's what's crazy. When you pick at 52, you're not looking up going, oh, this is a good quality pick at defensive tackle here. It's a little bit of a reach there as well. So this kind of feels like cornerback was last year for us. It just didn't line up with the board where the Packers were picking. So let's look at corners real quick. Malik Muhammad, that's the suggested pick here. Cornerback out of Texas. I'm going to go through and check these real quick. All right.
Chandler Rivers would be one that I'd maybe be interested in at cornerback, but it's like, I just feel like that our biggest need is to absolutely just bolster that offensive line. Like it just, to me, that was the biggest glaring need for this whole season was keeping Jordan Love clean so he can make his reads. And then we have to keep in mind that I think that most likely we're going to lose Rasheed Walker. I think that most likely Elton Jenkins is maybe going to take another step down, if not get cut. I think that Sean Ryan isn't the answer. I don't think that Belton has shown that what he can do. And honestly, Morgan we haven't put him in there and put his foot to the fire. So it's like, if this offensive line isn't shining, we're going to be in trouble. And Jordan Love's going to be in trouble, which means Matt LaFleur is going to be in trouble, which means the front office is going to be in trouble. So everything kind of snowballs from that point. So in years past, what I love about this podcast and what we've done is that, we used to, I don't want to say like casual fans, whatever, that sounds very offensive, but it's like, think about it as a GM and think about it from building from the ground up. There just has to be a certain type of, we talked about it last year. We lost in the trenches. What we do this year, we lost in the trenches. It just feels like that we need to absolutely have ourselves some dogs in there, some road graders, man. I mean, we got our wide receiver room. Even if we lose a few of them, I think we're good. Tight end room, we're good. Running back room, I'd argue we're okay. On the defensive side of the ball, I think definitely D-line needs to be addressed, especially the interior defensive line, but I'm cool with the edge. I'm all right with the linebacker room. I'm definitely cool with the safeties. Cornerback is definitely a need. So, but what do we talk about as far as being like a number one type of thing? It's I don't want to put words in your mouth, Clayton, but definitely you say 3-tech, center, obviously quarterback, but like I just feel like that we need to find some sort of continuity where let's go back to the Packers of old when you knew for a fact that we had a great offensive line,
Right. No, I completely agree. And again, the games are won and lost in the up front on both offense and defense. Now, cornerback is a need, we've seen it. I just don't think it's as much of a need as offensive line. Now, when you look at the cornerbacks, according to our PTA big board, the best available here, if we just go corners, Muhammad's in the 200s. Okay, bad pick there according to our board. We've got Keontae Scott from Miami. He is 50th on our big board. You've got Chandler Rivers is 78th on our big board. And then Jake Slaughter, the center, is at 48. So what it comes down to essentially is you've got Scott and Slaughter in the same tier. So this is where what you do in free agency will probably be the determining factor on whether or not you would go Jake Slaughter here or go with someone like Keontae Scott at corner.
Yeah.
With that being said, and just hold that, Jacob, we'll do that here in a minute at the end. Yeah. We're going to hit the super chats as we wrap up the segment, guys. Appreciate everybody. Get those in and we'll make sure we hit them, I promise. So what you got to ask yourself is, okay, did you go out and get Tyler Linderbaum? If he wasn't on the market, did you get someone else? Did you decide to restructure Elton Jenkins and bring him back as your starting center? If that's the case, and then you do draft Jennings Dunker like we did with that first pick and kick him inside or wherever you may think he can play, your offensive line's in a lot better shape. You feel good about taking Keontae Scott here. So that's really what it comes down to. If we stuck to the board, it would be Jake Slaughter right here. So we went back-to-back O-line. But if you went corner, it would be Keontae Scott. Which would you rather do, Jacob? Which scenario do you think is more realistic? Because for me, I would love to get Tyler Linderbaum, but we're not the only team that's going to be bidding on him. And we don't even know if the Baltimore Ravens are going to let him out of the building.
They shouldn't if they're smart. I think it kind of coincides with Walt Montiel's chat here. He goes, the starting O-line will be Morgan, Banks, Monk, hopefully Ryan at right guard, Belton, and Tom. O-line is a need, but so is cornerback. Do you feel comfortable with the line that we just listed there? Morgan, Banks, Monk, hopefully Ryan, Belton, and Tom. I don't feel comfortable with that,
Not at all.
to be honest. Like that to me sounds like a massive liability.
Jacob Monk has shown a little flash. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being a great center.
I want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you go into the season banking on that and he flops, you're screwed. We're right back to square one again going, well, crap. Your offensive line got significantly younger, right? And we're talking about, hey, can we add a little age on this thing, right? So let me go ahead and hit this super since you pulled the other chat up. I've been trying to hold them until the end. He's Mike Z with the super. Thank you so much, Mike. Clayton, I agree with you. Corners are a need when you don't have pass rush. Can't expect them to cover for 10 seconds. O-line, D-line priority. Yeah, exactly. And again, the board just doesn't line up right now, right, Mike? That's the problem with defensive line. So, Jacob, I'm going to say for the sake of being a little more versatile here, we went and got Jennings Dunker. Let's assume we're either going to keep Elton Jenkins at a restructured rate or we're going to go and get a free agent center. Let's go cornerback here with Keontae Scott. Do you disagree?
No, you do it. Yeah. I'd be fine with either. It's just, I think that, I just love the big hog mollies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go Keontae Scott here. And you guys know Jake Slaughter is my draft crush. Love it. I think let's just kind of change it up here and go with the corner. If these were more than 2 spots apart, I'd be like, no, like if it was 5 spots apart, I'd go, let's just get Slaughter. But you're talking about guys in the same tier. Let's go Keontae Scott here from Miami cornerback. So that gives us a little bit of cornerback help there in the 3rd round. So now we have gone offensive tackle and we went cornerback, and the cornerback obviously was 50th on our board. So what's cool is at 52, we get the 21st best prospect. At 84, we get the 50th best prospect, according to our board. So this is what Goody talks about. They said they always feel like they feel real confident they can get top 50 prospects in the first 3 rounds. Like they can get their first 3 round picks or in their top 50 of prospects. So everybody's board is different, obviously. All right, let's go back to all here. Now we are at pick 120. This is where it gets really, really interesting. Top picks here. Nick Singleton, running back out of Penn State. Davison Igbinosun, cornerback out of Ohio State. Safety, Jalen Kilgore. Interior offensive lineman from Bama, Parker Brailsford. And then cornerback, Devin Moore from Florida. So, again, what are our needs? We could go get another offensive lineman. We need as much depth as possible. I could see cornerback still being a sneaky need. But also linebacker. What if Quay Walker walks in free agent, right? That's something that you're going to have to think about. If you go to linebacker real quick, Harold Perkins out of LSU, Jashawn Barham, linebacker out of Michigan. You've got Lander Barton. Lander, I hardly know her. Linebacker out of Utah. Aiden Fisher, linebacker out of Indiana. None of those really flash to me. So if we go back to interior offensive line, there's your boy Keelan Rutledge. There's Bo Stevens as well. So what I'm noticing, Jacob, is if you can get a stud offensive lineman at 52 that you feel confident with, and you can come back and get a cornerback with your 3rd round pick, you can wrap back around and get an interior offensive lineman in the 4th round and feel really good about this draft. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think about, is Tim Keenan the 3rd round or no?
Let's see if he's still there. He looks like he was taken. Remember, he was available last pick, but he did go already.
He was? Okay.
You're talking about the defensive tackle, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, he's already off the board. He was the best available when we picked last time in terms of defensive tackle. So, and again, Mock Draft Database is saying take a defensive lineman here. Let's see if we can make sense of it. If you want to list off a couple guys that you like, I'm going to go through. And
Xavion Harris was one that kind of popped a little for me.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Gil Howard here, who is the top choice, he is currently 121 on our board. Okay, I'm just going to jot these down. You got Xavier Harris, obviously.
That's the one I said. Yeah.
So that's your guy. You said.
Not my guy, but just one that kind of just interested to see how he lines up with our board.
Yeah, he is 195 on our big board. Okay, so that would
that'd be a little bit of reach. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's check out Zane Durant real quick. Zane Durant is 334. Wow. Oof. So no, not even in a ballpark.
I don't know if you got him, but is Bo Steve? I hate to say it again for all.
No, it makes. That's what I was just talking about. It makes a lot of sense. Bo
Stevens is there. I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, now let's look at how the interior offensive line shake out now. We got Stevens. You write him down. And I try to take notes and keep these notes so we can remember how these exercises went. I think it's important to kind of understand how everything's fallen. Yep. He's 77 on our board, so that'd be great value for Bo Stevens. And then Keelan Rutledge we're high on too, but I'm pretty sure Bo Stevens is actually higher than him, which is wild because obviously you look at the board here and it suggests something else. Rutledge, if I can find it.
Is that the Georgia Tech board?
Yeah, Keelan Rutledge is 80, so it's close. That would be one you might consider a cluster buster, right? You might go that route and try to pick between the two. We won't do it right now for time's sake. Let me just check for Brailsford real quick because that's a name that keeps popping up, but I don't think we're high on him. Yeah, we got him at 120. So this is real simple. If you're going to go interior offensive line, it's between Keelan Rutledge and Bo Stevens. Both are in the same ballpark, although Stevens is a few spots higher, 3 spots higher on our board. So if you had to choose between those two, Jacob, if we narrowed it down to Keelan Rutledge and Bo Stevens, who would the pick be? Who would you want there?
I mean, Bo would be playing with his brother, right? Or not his brother, but like his brother in arms, another Iowa boy.
Two Iowa guys, and we'll get raked over the coals for that, just drafting a bunch of Iowa guys. But again, we're explaining why this is how the board is falling. Like this is a realistic scenario. It really is. Yeah. And you see, our boy Jones is already gone, right? Logan Jones is already gone.
And then just to be clear, is Rodriguez a linebacker? Jacob Rodriguez, is he gone?
I think he's already gone. Now, on PFF's mock drafts, he's hanging around right here, and that would be a slam dunk pick. I
like that guy too, dude. Awesome. Like I said, I just started kind of diving into the prospects. I start, whatever reason, I like that guy. It's like when you're a little kid, you know what I mean? Like I like his name, or he has the first name that I have. Okay, so I'm like, I like him a lot. He's a good guy,
Exactly. Offensive tackle, just looking here, nothing really grabs your attention there. Yeah. So to me, it's a slam dunk, man. It's between Slaughter and Rutledge. In this case, Rutledge on the consensus big board is significantly higher than Bo Stevens. So I'm good with either one, Jacob. Are you okay with Keelan Rutledge?
Stevens or Rutledge, you said?
Yeah, Rutledge on the consensus big board is at 106. Bo Stevens is 129. On our board, we got Stevens 77, Rutledge 80. So if you kind of took both of those things into consideration, because we're using this database here, you take both those consideration, you think, okay, you probably lean toward Rutledge over Stevens, although Stevens is higher on our board. On draft night, I would be saying Bo Stevens, but using the mock draft database, obviously they're saying there's more value in Keelan Rutledge.
As much I think I still go both.
I like it. All right, let's do it. Let's go Bo Stevens.
And then we're done. You know what I mean? Like then we don't have to worry about offensive line, at least in my opinion. But
no, yeah. I mean, you go out and you get two solid offensive linemen. So we're gonna go Bo Stevens. That is interior offensive lineman out of Iowa. Now, again, they're going to show that as a reach, right? And the reason they're going to show it as a reach is because they had other interior offensive linemen, Rutledge, significantly higher, like 20 spots higher. So that's why we got to see there. If we'd taken Rutledge and just played to the mock draft database, we'd got an A+, but it's not about that. It's about our board, right? And taking everything into consideration. So there you go. You went with this mock draft. And again, we got Bo Stevens at 120, right? What's crazy is we got him at 120, and he was the 80th best prospect on our board. So you picked up 40 more points of value there. So you got offensive tackle Jennings Dunker at 52. He was 21 on our board. You got Keontae Scott, cornerback out of Miami, at 84. He was 50 on our board. And then interior offensive lineman Bo Stevens at 120. He was 80 on our board. I would be over the freaking moon with these first 3 picks for the Packers draft. No doubt about it. So,
yeah. Yep.
All right. So there you go. There is your 4-round mock draft, 3 picks for the Packers. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about that draft? Again, Jennings Dunker at 52, Keontae Scott at 84, Bo Stevens at 120. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on all other content coming down the pike. All right, man. Any comments you want to hit there real quick, Jake? Look, we got a super there, don't we?
Yeah, we just got a super. Just real quick, Chad said, liking it. United Bates, who I trust quite a bit, who has beaten me in fantasy football. I don't want to talk about it. Mike Witt comes in and says, with a super chat here, thank you, Mike. He says, hey, boys, I don't know if it's at all possible, but I would be in heaven if we could draft or if we could get Dominique Orange in the 2nd or 3rd. Him next to Wyatt would be amazing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Dominique Orange is very, very interesting. He is one of the fan favorites. Like, I know Chris Ian likes him a lot. He's known as Big Citrus. That's his nickname. Big old, he is a hoss, dude, out of Iowa State. The problem I've got with it, Mike, and thank you for the Superman. Greatly appreciate the support there. The problem I've got with it is he's 152 on our board. Now, let me explain why he's that low, okay? His PFF grades in 23, 136 at his position. He jumped all the way to 30 in 24. But in 25, he fell all the way back to 352 at the defensive tackle spot. The PFF big board has him at 65. The consensus big board had him at 69 when we took the info down. So that puts him with a 129 grade, putting him in the 152 spot. So if you're going to take him, right, then it would have to be, gosh, the 5th round. I mean, it would be a reach in the 4th, and it would be a good pick in the 5th, I would imagine, if that makes sense, Mike. So we're not as high on him as others. That could change by the time the draft gets here, though, Mike. Again, you're not the only one that likes Big Citrus. I love the name. I'm just telling you. So we'll see, though, man. Maybe by the time the draft gets here, everything kind of balances out, and it makes sense to take him at a specific pick. I understand what you're saying, putting him next to Wyatt, though. That would be awesome.
Cool.
Now, there's other defensive tackles we like a lot as well. But appreciate the super chat, Mike. You the man.
Check this chat out. This is pretty cool. Oops, sorry.
Not bad. Go ahead.
Walt Montillo says, great draft. Cheers from Argentina.
Let's go.
What's
Argentina.
up, bro?
Yeah, appreciate you watching all the way from Argentina, man. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. All right. You want to talk a little salary cap, Jacob? I know we had a little conversation this morning about it, talking about the cap space and whatnot, right? You want to hit it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So salary cap, guys. Let me earmark it. Let's do a little salary cap talk. Listen, you listen across the interwebs, and there's people that think, oh, crap, we're screwed. We have no cap space. There's others that think you can go out and sign every free agent under the moon. And the reality is the truth is always in between the two extremes. All right. So what we've done here, just talking about cap space, you can find this article we put together earlier on Patreon, just roster decisions. If you go on, it breaks down everybody. It talks about Rashawn Gary's, positives and negatives of keeping him, his cap hit if you keep him, pre-June 1 cut, post-June 1 cut, all that. It goes on to show Elton Jenkins, the same thing. So you guys can check that in our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. But let's key in on the cap hits here. First of all, over the cap, Jacob, they currently have our salary cap space at $2.6 million over the cap. Okay. And people see that and they freak out. Guys, they're going to get way under that number if they want to. If they want to sign somebody, they can get way under that number. What do I mean by that? And let me just cross check. First of all, cap space, according to Spot Track, is minus 4.3 million in cap. Okay. So you're seeing over the cap saying 2.6 over. You're seeing Spot Track say 4.3 over. I always tell people any of those numbers you pick, be willing to fudge it $5 million either way, okay? Because there's so much, fine detail that you can kind of work out. Don't get caught up in counting every single cent. However, the cap went up again. Everything's factored in. We got to free up. Let's say it's $5 million to get under the cap, just to play it safe. Well, you also want $7 to $10 million of operating funds as well, okay? Those numbers do include the projected draft class this year as well. Some people say that doesn't include the draft class. That actually includes the draft class as it sits right now. So, with that being said, let me show you how we could save some money real quick here, Jacob. This is what we were talking about earlier, all right? So you'll see the cap hits. This is for 2026. Jordan Love, $36.1 million. Dead cap, $98.4. Obviously, no money to be saved. What you're looking for is a lower dead cap number than the cap hit itself. Rashawn Gary is the first example of that. $28 million against the cap, $17 million in dead cap. What does that mean? You could cut Rashawn Gary pre-June 1, move on from him, trade him, whatever you want to do, and you could free up $11 million just like that, and you're automatically under the cap by $5 million. One move. Now, that doesn't include post-June 1. If you go post-June 1 for Rashawn Gary, you're actually freeing up $19.5 million this year. However, keep in mind, you've got to carry his current cap charge of $28 million until June 1. So you don't have, you don't have access to those funds right then. You're going to have to shave cap off somewhere else if you go post June 1, if that makes sense. So Rashawn Gary, that's why we talked about you could potentially cut him and free up a lot of cap space. Aaron Banks, a little bit different, $24.7 million against the cap. You can cut him this year, pre-June 1, and free up $4 million, $4.5 million, well, $4.4 million what you could save. If you go post-June 1 cut, you can free up, let me find him here, post-June 1 cut, $18 million. So you can make a decision on Rashawn Gary to go pre-June 1 cut and free up the money to get under the cap the way you need to be, and then maybe go post-June 1 cut with Aaron Banks and plan on having an extra $18 million. And again, you just got to get under the cap by the new league calendar year, right? That's essentially how it works. And there's a little bit of grace there as well as you operate within those parameters. Elton Jenkins, another one, Jacob, $24.3 million. He's 4.8 dead cap. You can free up right at $20 million by just cutting Elgton Jenkins. Now, it's the last year of his contract, so there's no post-June 1 parameters there. There's no way to benefit there. If you cut him outright, you free up $20 million. What I'd like to see the Packers do personally, cut Elgton Jenkins, let him test the market, tell him to come back with the best offer. If he comes back with $10 million or less, match that offer with a little bit more guaranteed money and let him play another year in Green Bay is what I would do. Now, he may be a little butthurt over how the whole thing unfolded, right? He held out of camp or held into camp, however you want to say it, and wanted a new contract. They didn't give it to him. So he may go, nope, I'm not interested in signing in Green Bay. That could be the case. You got to be prepared for that, right? But to me, of all the players we just talked about, Jacob, the one that makes the most sense is Elgton Jenkins. He's 31 years old. He's had ACL injury already and surgery. And then last year he had the injury. I would get him off the books, let him test the market. And if he comes back with a good team-friendly deal and there's no hard feelings, then you can bring him back. And on kind of a, hey, you play this many games, you get paid your full amount of money, as opposed to, the latter. So,
yeah, I agree. Like Natso Koo says, I like Jenkins. He's been with us forever, but it's time to move on. I know Clayton's the same way. I'm a very loyal fan. I know Tim's the same way. I know Emilio's kind of like that. You get your guys, and then you don't ever want to see them leave. Like, right, we want them to have that. If we could all have our druthers, they'd be hanging up in the Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? They'd have their jerseys retired. They'd be here. The thing is it's a business, and especially nowadays with the cap situation and how much people are getting paid, and it's just not realistic that you're going to keep everybody. And honestly, like, I almost hope the best for some of these guys, because even if you look at a guy like Rasheed Walker, like you want them to go out and get their money. Like Tim talked about a couple of episodes ago, these guys probably get one shot at getting like that. I'm going to pay my family. I'm not going to have to work for the rest of my life. I've worked my whole literal life in this career, if you want to call that a career, playing football, which it is. It's probably harder than anything I've ever done in my whole life. So for that type of mentality, I understand these guys, but like you said, I like the idea of letting him test free agency. I like the idea of him coming back and saying, hey, all right, that's your market rate. Okay, we'll give you maybe like a little bit of incentive, maybe a little bit more of like guaranteed money with maybe the accommodation of, like you said, you guys know I've always loved the incentive based contracts. I wish that more of them were like that. Like, if it's kind of like my job here, your job, anybody's job. If you just are like, well, I'm going to be hurt for most of the year, they're like, all right, well, you're not going to get paid anything. Yeah. Which sucks, but it's like, that's the world, man. That's so wild, man. Jenkins is an interesting one. I think I saw a comment earlier, somebody saying how they kind of with Gary too, like not necessarily like, I love Gary. I will never forget him breaking down emotionally, hugging his family, thanking the Green Bay Packers organization. I feel like that if anybody has been, I don't want to say done dirty or nothing like that, but he's done what we've asked him to his whole football career. He did that in Michigan when they were like, we need you to either set the edge, we need you to do this, we need you to do that. And he just says, yes, sir, no, sir. It just feels like that it is maybe time to move on. And that's kind of where I'm at. It's just whatever the front office seems to think is the best foot forward. I agree with it. And it would be nice to free up some cap space. And if it has to be a couple guys that fall on the sword, it sucks, but this is a business. The NFL, we always talk about, stands for not for long. It's very rare that a player spends their whole career with one team. I wish it was different, but it's just the way that the cookie crumbles,
Absolutely. Now, another name that's being mentioned here is Nate Hobbs. All right.
Yeah.
Nate Hobbs is 12.8 on the cap. His dead cap is $12 million. What's that mean? If you cut him outright, you're only freeing up $800,000. Okay. So to me, it's worth it to keep him. Now, if you go post June 1 cut, you got to carry that $12.8 million cap hit until June 1. However, Nate Hobbs and his post June 1 cut frees up $8 million, $8.8 million. So what you got to ask yourself is it worth it? Which would you rather have on the roster? Would you rather have Nate Hobbs on the roster, or would you rather have an extra $8 million in cap space? That's essentially what it comes down to. And not for this free agency post June 1 cut. I lean toward, let's give Nate Hobbs another shot here. Right. The only thing worse than signing him and whiffing on that and giving a bunch of guaranteed money, however much guaranteed money they got, which obviously the dead cap's just $12 million. So it wasn't a whole lot of guaranteed money, is now you take a bath with that. He's on the cap for $12 million. He's not on your roster. He goes somewhere else and balls out like Eric Stokes. That would suck, right? Now, Aaron Banks is different. 24.7, boys, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, a lot of cap space. I would like to see, in a perfect scenario, a restructure of Aaron Banks, okay? Lower the cap number, take some of the money away, maybe give him a little bit more guaranteed money, keep him on the roster and get his number down to, say, 15 million, 12 million, something like that. But you may not be able to do it. You may just have to, accept the fact that you swung and missed on Nate Hobbs and Aaron Banks. That could have happened, right? And Goody's been good in free agency, in my opinion. Those two, not so much. He missed. It is what it is. I get raked over the coals when I say that Goody does something good. I've got to make sure that I'm being honest when he does something bad and makes a mistake. And again, at the time, I wasn't going, this is a huge mistake. I'm going, Goody knows what he's doing. Well, now you got a reason to kind of step back and question it a little bit. Like, okay, we missed on this. But
I like what Chris the Trucker says here again. He goes, Hobbs will be a Packer, unfortunately. Just doesn't make sense nice to cut him. I think he was a bad signing, but let's see if he can improve. What I will say about that, if I had my opinion, which again, thank God that I'm not a GM of an NFL team, I would cut bait with Banks and Hobbs. I didn't see it. I think the contracts were a little too spendy, but I'm a cheap SOB. You guys know that, right? So like, if I can get back some money, I'm the worst gambler ever because I get scared. I'm like, just let me save a little bit more money and I'll take the money back that I think I can. So like, but the one thing I will say, when you see that post-season interview with Hobbs, he owned it. You remember? Like he said, I didn't play well. Next year, you're going to get the best version of Nate Hobbs that you can get. I think he maybe referenced that I, was playing through some injuries, that kind of thing.
He definitely was, Jacob. He didn't get it. Like, he came into camp, flashed early, got hurt, and was not healthy all year.
And remember, they kind of got on him because he was a little too aggressive. You remember that? Right. Early. Right. And I don't want guys hitting our own guys in practice and all that kind of stuff, but I do want a couple psychopaths out there. And
another one too. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No,
it's just if we are possibly going to move on from Nixon or somebody like that, if we're going to move on from some of these guys that are thumpers, it's like I want somebody back there that's an absolute dog that's had time in the NFL. And like we talked about, like you just mentioned, I mean, we were all done with Eric Stokes. What happens? He goes to the frickin' Raiders, and he's literally one of the best ranking cornerbacks in the league for that year with substantial snaps. So.
Right. And, that goes back to what we talk about, draft and develop. Well, sometimes you draft these guys, you get the worst version of them, and then you let them walk because you want to stay young. You want to stay the youngest team. And now they finally get it. It clicks. They flourish. And then, lo and behold, you're back to square one. Let me give you an example. You guys remember Micah Hyde?
I was just going to say Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde was a dog. Right? They told Micah Hyde, and Wildy reported this. He broke this because I think either Micah Hyde or his agent told Wildy this at the time. They told him mid-season, we're not bringing you back. And it's so rare that a team does that. It's like, why would you do that? Because they wanted to get younger. And he goes on to Buffalo and balls out. So this isn't the first time this has happened. And sooner or later, we got to start calling a spade and go, okay, maybe it's how the general managers are operating here in Green Bay. Maybe we need to take a little bit different approach, right? It seems like it's fair game to say that about Matt LaFleur, but it's not fair game to say that about Goody, which is kind of weird. Yeah. Yes, Chad Ink says, man, if we could have kept Hyde, it would have been awesome, right? Would have been absolutely awesome. So another name here is Keyshawn Nixon. And this is a name, when you bring up Keyshawn Nixon, people lose their mind. And I get it. That tape of him at the goal line was rough to watch. If that had not happened, where he just kind of stepped back and decided he wasn't going to tackle the ball carrier, keep him out of the end zone, if that had not happened and the personal fouls had not happened all year, I would be sitting here saying Keyshawn had a good year.
Yeah.
But the reality is the penalties happen. The biting on double moves, biting underneath on double moves when you got over the top priority in your assignment, that happened. And then on top of that, going into the season, I'm not returning kicks. I'm cornerback one. That actually happened. And then his at the end of the season, his exit interview, what did he say to the media there after they cleaned out the locker? I hit all my goals this year. Yeah. Like, what are we talking? I'm sorry, man. It's just not there. Now, the number, if you removed all that, Jacob, I'd be okay with keeping him. 7.1 million is nothing. And the reality is, if you cut him, you only free up 2.1 million this year. And I don't know if there's a post-June or not. I'll take a quick check here. Keyshawn Nixon, post-June, 5 million. So you could get 5 million back post-June, but actually it's probably the same number. It is roughly the same number, isn't it? Yeah, so it's the same number. So again, if all that had not happened, I'll be okay with keeping Keyshawn. But you got to change the culture in your locker room somehow, some way. Now, the other problem is we're talking about we don't want to go out with the youngest roster again. Keyshawn's 29 years old. If you cut him and you replace him with Keontae Scott, who we just drafted, guess what? Your roster just got younger, and more specifically at the cornerback position. So it's not – I don't want to come across, guys, that are watching or listening to this later. I don't want to come across like, oh, this is an easy decision, because it's really not that easy. Because on one side, we're pointing out youth and inexperience is why we're collapsing down the stretch, and you can only get so far with that, especially with $90 million in cap space on the injury list, right? So something's got to give. You can't have it both ways. And I'm saying that to me, not anybody who's hearing my voice. I'm saying it to me like, all right, Clay, you don't want the youngest roster. Well, we've got to give on some of these veterans. You're going to have to keep one or two of them around if you don't want the youngest roster, because the reality is you're not just going to be able to go in free agency and just replace them with someone of equal age, right?
Well, isn't that another kind of point that you've made is being ourselves? We're kind of pinning ourselves in a corner being the youngest roster, because then if we need to make roster moves, all of a sudden we're like, well, we can't cut the old guy, even though the old guy maybe needs to get cut. You know what I'm saying? Right. But like you just said, that's going to put us down again, right in that, if not the youngest, probably top three or bottom three, whatever you want to say. Right. That to me is just, again, and who does that reflect on? Did Matt LaFleur draft these guys?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. Did Bisaccia draft these guys?
Right.
Did you ask him to just take an unmolded ball of clay and just be like, make me a freaking beautiful work of art? It's just kind of, at one point you just, and I love Goody. I really do. I like Goody. I think he knows what he's doing in the most part, but I think he needs to tweak his vision a little. I'm just going to say it.
And maybe that's with Ed Policy, with the announcement of the extensions. He came out, I don't know if you've seen, but the comment that he made that stood out to me, Jacob, was he came out and said, we all sat down, we got on the same page about where we want to go, where we want to be. Maybe he made some tweaks to that. Maybe it's, hey, Goody, I want you to change this. Hey, Matt, I want you to change that a little bit, right? And I know there's some people that go, well, he has no right to say that. Okay, then why the hell is he the president? Just don't even have a president if you don't have someone at the top kind of seeing things from a little bit different level, even if it's from mostly a business perspective, like what he's done in Titletown and helped Mark Murphy do in Titletown. That's huge for business. It is. But still, you want someone who can give you an outside look rather than, all right, everybody just get in your tunnel here, get in your tunnel vision, and you just do what you think is right and don't listen to anyone else. That's crazy. That's why we got the structure we've got right now, because those silos popped up last time and all of a sudden the team was screwed, So anyway, we need to wrap up.
Chris says, man, I don't care if we save $2.50. Got Keyshawn yesterday.
Right. Let me tell you something, bro. You are not kidding. Like I just tried to sell myself on it, right? I gave you every reason why to keep Keyshawn Nixon, Chris, and I am still going, I don't want him. Like, it's time to move on, man. Yeah. Mike Witt agrees, right? I'd rather have a rookie than Nixon. We all know what Nixon is. His second half of the season was horrible. It was. And what's crazy is he still led the league in pass breakups. And you see that, and that's a cool stat.
That's crazy, yeah.
But why is he leading in pass breakups? Because he is no hesitation. First break, he's breaking on the ball. Now, what's the negative of that? Getting cooked on the double move. And we've seen that several times as well. So anyway, if you guys are watching this video back later on the salary cap, let us know, how do you feel about the salary cap situation? Which of these players would you cut loose? Which player would you like to restructure? Which player you may feel like Chris and just go, you know what, get him the hell off my team. I don't want him. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future content, including live streams like this one, videos that we'll upload, and anything in between with breaking news. Make sure that you got that bell icon clicked. All right, Jacob, anything else you want to hit on before we wrap up? My wife is ready to go out. We got about 10 inches of snow outside.
You got 10 inches?
Yeah, she wants to get the German. I'm going to clip that. So we're going to get the German Shepherds outside and wrestle around and have some fun. So they're loving it. But we let them out there. They look like a couple of wolves out there wrestling around. They don't know how to act. So they get out there. And anything else you want to say before we wrap up, man?
No, I mean, I've lived in Nashville before in my life for about 5 years. Anytime there's snow, go out there and enjoy it, man. A lot of these people don't get to have that fun in the snow. I remember the last time that I was there, it was like 3 inches. There were people sledding down our hill into like West End Avenue, almost getting hit by cars. And I'm like, dude, you guys are insane. And they're like, well, but anyways, check out the Senior Bowl. I believe it's 2:30.
That's right.
what did that be? 2:30 Central Time, if I'm not mistaken. Bates is saying it's 2:30 Eastern Time.
That's
sure.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, so that'd be.
And I think, somebody was asking where to watch it. I'm almost positive it's NFL Network. I'll double check. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that they said NFL Network in the chat as well. Watch for guys. This is fun, guys. This is what we do. This is the off season. If you like this type of content, we're going to keep going with this. We go into the Senior Bowl. We go into the draft prospects. Then you're in the OTAs, the off season. It's like this is a nonstop podcast. This is why we've built such a great following. The people in the chat, you guys are amazing. I'm seeing a lot of new names that are commenting, which is really, really fun for me. Just getting to see and kind of learn you guys' personalities. We got a bunch of weirdos, a bunch of jokers. You guys know we like to have fun on this show. So if that's something that you like, hit the subscribe. We're literally going to be going. I know Clayton does this 2, 3, 4 times a day sometimes. So let's keep it going and keep that momentum. This is the off season. It's the time for being happy and being fun and thinking we're going to win the Super Bowl. And gosh darn it, I think we will.
I think we got a legit shot if you add some veterans. That's no BS.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about getting all these key players back: Micah Parsons, Devontae White, Tucker Kraft, a healthy Josh Jacobs. Finally battled that knee for the last 6 weeks of the season. Again, you got a fresh start on defense. So we'll see if that works out. I feel really good about Bobby Babbage being grouped up with Jonathan Gannon. We'll see what happens at the quarterback coach position position, I guess you could say as well. So
I love
appreciate you, Chad. Thank you.
That's so cool's comment. This show is great, but this show still sucks.
That is 100%. Truer words have never been spoken.
100% there.
All right, guys, we're out here. Again, the best way to support what we do here at PTA is join our Patreon community, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Had a flurry of new folks jump in there. Greatly, greatly appreciate the support. And I'm going to continue to stay dedicated to get you guys extra content out of there. We're throwing out draft coverage like crazy in the Patreon group. So make sure you guys are a part of it. And again, if you don't want to support, it's $3 to gain access to it, right? Do it if you want to support the channel extra. Just understand that you watching the show, you just taking a second to hit that like button, you taking a second to hit subscribe and the bell icon and sharing it with people, that is more than enough, okay? We created the Patreon community because people were reaching out asking, hey, how can I support the show? I don't want this to go away. Let me help keep the lights on. That's what it's there for. So if you want to do that, awesome. If not, you're just as important as anybody in the Patreon group, I promise you. So, Jake, appreciate your time, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. I see Chris. That's the first time I've seen you, man. It's glad to have you in here. Like you said, you're part of the family now. Oh, it's Chris from Alabama. Oh, okay.
Everybody's got different names.
Shoot. All right. I've never seen him in this chat. That's awesome, dude. Love listening to you call in. That's awesome.
Absolutely. That's a new Patreon member there. So good stuff, Chris. Good stuff,
appreciate you, man.
All right. We're out, guys. Everybody have a great day. Stay warm out there. My name's Clayton. That's Jacob. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
There we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.